Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Blue Heinz Garage. It's Friday afternoon, January 17th. Been busy here, very busy here. All kinds of stuff, not just car stuff, everything. Like I say, working on this, trying to arrange the rest that when I did the fuel system, I just put a piece of tubing leading up to the fuel pump. Not thinking that was going to be any kind of an issue, just a piece of hose. Well, turned into a big issue. Still don't have it done, but we have it figured out. Bought a fuel pump, a Edelbrock, simply because, biggest reason, because it said it makes 6 PSI or less. Trying not to run a fuel gauge and have to deal with all of that. And the inlet and outlet on those things is less than optimum. Even though you can clock the bottom of the fuel pump, there's like 12 screw holes in there. You can only use 6 of them. The ones that we needed to make it work were the ones you can't use. So we took it apart and tapped those screw holes. So you could use all of them now on this pump. And that made it workable. Not easy, but workable. And we have something figured out. We got, see the Summit box there? Those are both Summit boxes. We got that worth of hardware, not counting the piece of tubing and the fuel pump and the clamps for it to strap, anyway. So we're ready for that. In the meantime, you look around here, you notice the fenders are gone. Fronts and backs, remember they were on top of the 57. Splash aprons are gone. The bed is gone. The shelf here is half-ass organized. Remember it had tools on a couple of shelves, and it had Model A parts on a couple of shelves. It had odds and ends, leftover stuff on a couple of shelves. I don't have the bottom ones cleaned out yet, but the tools now live in here. The tools that were on those shelves live in here. Moved this over here to do a file organizer, and then ended up making that so the drawers ended up empty. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to put the tools in the drawers. I'll have this whole shelf assembly, the narrower ones for the Model A. So you see I got boxes of stuff all labeled with stuff I've taken off the Model A and that's ready to be used on the Model A. Like I said, I was purposely waiting for the trip to the body shop with the rest of the parts to end this video. And the other day I got all focused on getting ready for that. I made horsed a couple more planks out and made another temporary ramp, rolled the bed up there by myself. Got the fenders, got all the parts in the back of the truck, and just as I was getting done putting everything away, Scott showed up, so I was all excited about getting everything down there. I had already talked to Mo, and he was waiting for us to bring everything, and I forgot all about the camera. I didn't even take a still picture of the truck with all the stuff in it. Sorry about that, but it wouldn't have been very exciting anyway. I mean, it's just a truckload of stuff that headed off to the body shop. When I was down there, I see he's got some stuff in primer already. Some of the stuff I already brought him. Not the cab, but he's working on the hood. That was half primed. Bunch of other smaller parts and pieces already primed. So it's not like everything's sitting there, nothing's happening. He's already working on the stuff. We're working on the fuel pump. So you've got the header here. Even though the exhaust is all off, we put the header back. You can see the pump up there and the fittings that we're using to come out of it to make it work, because everything's heading in the wrong direction. But as narrow as these frames are, that's the only way we can do it. You'll see more of that when we get it hooked up. So anyway, talk to you later. Bye. Hello there. Welcome back to Blue Heinz Garage. We're still here working on disassembling this. I've gotten a lot further over the weekend. You notice all the fuel lines and The brake lines on the rear portion are gone. The oil cooler for the transmission right there is gone. Scott was here yesterday and he started on the rest of this fuel line. See, we got the fuel pump mounted there as a mock-up. That's the input line that you see there. And he made this bracket, you know, there's this little metal plate that goes here. And then the fuel pump goes over it. So he extended that and made a little bulkhead on the bottom of it. So the hard line goes to the bulkhead, and then we're going to have a braided stainless hose coming off of that. It's hanging on there right now. You can't hardly see it. It's too crowded in here. Let's see if I can show you. There, you see the hose hanging there. That's going to go over to another bulkhead on the frame, and then a hard line. The second bulkhead will be down here someplace on the frame, you know, down in here somewhere on the frame. I can't hardly get to where I can show you that. And then from there it'll go back. You see he's already started this. From there it'll go back and tie into the selector, the valve that picks which tank you're sucking out of, left or right side. So that will be the final thing we have to do on this before we take it completely apart, before the motor and transmission comes out, which will be the last thing to come off of here. Today, I'm going to work on removing the rear end, which means taking that all apart, taking all the suspension pieces loose, taking the tires off to start with. I already just loosened the lug nuts. Then I'm going to remove the wheels, obviously, remove the brakes, take the axles out, pull the third member out, get it ready for paint, in other words, and remove it from the chassis so the chassis, the bracketry and everything can get all final welded. None of this is finished welded yet. It's all positioned intact, but it all needs to be welded. So that's where we're headed. Well, hello there. Welcome back to Blue Heinz Garage. Today is Tuesday, January 21st. As you can see, I made a fair amount of progress here yesterday. Got the rear end completely out. 4 bars, all the rear suspension is gone. Like I say, I made some progress with that. There's the rear end standing up over there. Rear tire, one rear wheel. Third member sitting right there on top of that bucket. There's the front 4 bars. Half of the front 4 bars, the other half still on there. And a whole bunch of stuff here. This box. This stuff all going to powder coating. This stuff is all stuff that can't stand the heat of powder coating, so it needs to get painted. As well as all these lines need to get painted. This is stuff to, this is parts to do that fuel line that we're working on. Sorry, I don't know where I was facing there. So today I'm hoping to get the front end apart. I'm not going to film this. I'm going to show you when it's done. I'm not going to bore you with watching me take it apart. All right. Hello there. How are you? Today is Friday, January 24th. It is 5 minutes to 3 in the afternoon. We just got back from the Napa Valley. We were there for a couple of days celebrating our January birthdays. And it would appear as though Scott's been here while we were gone. I'll show you the progress he's made. First of all, I see this muffler system hanger was really loose. It was easy to bend sideways. We didn't know for sure if it was supposed to be square coming off that tubing or what. And I see from the exhaust stuff he's got down here on the workbench that used to be up on top of the loft, that he's reassembled the exhaust back to this part to make sure, back to this point to see where that thing needed to be. and welded it. Now it's nice and solid. The other thing he did was to finish this fuel line. See the fuel pump up there? And you see how this line that you see coming along the frame here is the supply line to the fuel pump from the tank. There's a selector switch right here that selects left or right fuel tank to draw the fuel off of. And the line you see coming off of that right now, running here along the frame, leads from that selector switch to the fuel pump. Obviously from the fuel pump, you see there's a 90-degree fitting sticking straight up there with tape over the end of it. That will go up to the carburetor. But he finished this one, see, with the flexible hose and the bulkhead fitting. The exhaust header will obviously go right here, and there's plenty of room, will go right here. And there's plenty of room between the exhaust pipe and the fuel hose. You see how tight he's got it to the frame. So he's finished that. This other thing you see here is a duct for the main battery cables, the red and the black battery cables coming off the battery. The battery box hangs below the floor of the cab right in this area right here. So the cables will come out of the battery box, go one in each of these two compartments. I forget which one goes on the bottom, if the red or the black goes on the bottom. They run along in there and then they come out here. One of them will go to one of these bolts on the engine. The other one will go forward till it goes up to the solenoid on top of the starter motor. So at this point, I'm not going to do it today. Like I said, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I think I'm done for today. But tomorrow I'm going to be out here for sure. We'll have this thing lowered, the whole chassis down lower, and we'll drag that out, the cherry picker out, and oh, you see he's got the clips on there already for removing the motor. See, they're bolted to the heads for taking the motor out. See, we have this thing here, this bridle thing here that hangs on the cherry picker, attaches to those clips, and that way we can remove the motor and the transmission and get that out of here. And then the steering box and the front brake lines, and at that point the chassis is bare. All we got is a frame with oh no, sorry, I got to take that bracket off, the bigger of these two brackets. The little one I think I'm going to leave there. That's just for hood shelves. This one here. This one here I'm going to remove. I think I might remove both of them. If I do that, you notice this one has locating holes in it, the 1/8 inch holes. If I remove the two of them, the front one as well, I'm going to drill that one too, so I can look, because it's already located exactly where it needs to be. So is this one, and the one on the other side. There's one of those on the other side too. That's a body mount bracket. The body mount hangs out past the frame, so it fastens on that bracket. So that, the steering box and the brake lines, the engine and the transmission and the chassis bare. Tomorrow for sure that will happen. Well, here you go, guys. It's bare. Everything's gone, everything's off of it. It's time to bring it over to Scott's. He's going to weld it there. You know, a little each day or whatever. So, got a few holes to drill. The center punches are there. Sizes are there. This is for wire routing. Yeah, and cable routing for the big cables. The headlights electric fan. I think more headlights and that kind of stuff. See here, in the frame, out of the frame. These two areas right here, where you see the, not the fill, the other one here, the X. And here, this half inch you see here, that's where the wiring will go into the frame. And I believe it's supposed to come out. I don't have it marked. This selector, oh, I think I was going to come out right here for the selector switch, run along the tube. Huh, don't remember where it enters the frame. The front of the body is here somewhere. Guess it doesn't go in the frame right here for the selector switch. It does go into the frame to go to the back. It's a long time since I figured this out. Here's the back where it comes out, and then it runs up to the taillights. Okay, anyway, this is e-brake hardware here. He said he wanted that left on there. You see that unbolts too, but he wanted that left on because it helps to hold all of this to get in place while you know, the heat of the welding wants to move it. A lot of stuff to weld here. Panhard bar, brake line, you know, the flexible brake hose. All these need to get finished. This is a bed mount. And a 4-bar mount, I think. Yeah. So anyway, ready to go. Find a place for all this stuff that's been sitting in that chassis now for 20 years probably. Not only that, you see the transmission. Store that for a while till it's ready to paint and put back in there. Need a dipstick for that. Need a kick down tube, you know, piece of tubing and a hose. Whatever kind of adapts to the speedometer. Odds and ends, odds and ends. Hello there. Welcome back, Blue Heinz Garage. It's February 8th today, Saturday. Just wanted to update you on the latest here, so I can include this and end my current video. You see, Time Machine is back up in the air again. When it's here, in progress, it currently lives right where you see it, unless we're working on it, and then it's down lower. Anyway, it's back and it's in the air. You notice there's no sign of Old Hank, because Old Hank is in parts and pieces now, totally. The chassis, the frame, I should say, not the chassis, because it's all apart. The frame is at Scott's house. He's welding it up. He's doing all the final welding on all of the mountings, you know, the 4 bars and the transmission cross member and the center cross member, all that stuff now is getting final welded. In the meantime, since it went away from here, I have been, you notice this is not clean, but it's not bad. These are brake lines, front and rear. That's about all that's left on the bench. Yesterday, I actually finished clearing this off and organizing stuff. This is powder coat material. It's going to the powder coater. This is going to the powder coater. In other words, it's all kind of sorted. Those are going to powder coating. Those and this box all gets painted because it can't stand the heat from the powder paint process. And here's some more under here. Axle, spring, that's a tie rod, the long one there. There's a shorter one also, the drag link, that's I think in the box. And then the rest, I'll see if I can get back far enough to include all of this. The rest is all organized. Here, you know what? Hang on a second. I'll get to a place that's better able to show you this whole thing. The rest is all organized right there right now. And I've not only organized it, but I sorted it. I haven't labeled the top shelf because the top shelf is kind of a bunch of miscellaneous stuff. It's the whole wiring. That center box you see there is the whole wiring harness kit. The other box, you can see the flex plate on the right hand side, flex plate dust cover, aluminum, and the steering wheel with the repair setup for the kit for the steering wheel. And then below that is body and interior stuff. Below that is chassis, steering, suspensions. Obviously the steering box is in there. That needs to get painted, but for now I'm just storing it there. Fuel system. There's an empty shelf right now, and then below that is brakes. The bottom shelf right now is not part of the Model 8, part of the old Hank. That's coilovers. I don't remember where although I think those are the original coilovers that came with the chassis that we started with that were too short. So that's kind of where we're at right now as far as old Hank is concerned. Like I said, he's in parts and pieces. All the sheet metal stuff is at the body shop. Chassis is at the frame is at Scott's house. The only thing that needs to go to Scott's house still is the third member, rear end, I should say. The third member is under the shear over here, the pumpkin. That's got to go to Scott's too, because the brackets that are on that are only tacked. So that's got to get welded, finish welded, final welded. The third member is right there, sitting on top of that bucket. So anyway, that's where we're at with this project right now. It brings you up to current Saturday, February 8th. So again, thanks for watching. Sorry I had to do this in two parts, but we would have had another 25 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it's going to be, on top of that the other video, which was already 49 minutes long. That's a bit long. So anyway, thanks for watching. Please like and comment. I'd appreciate that. Thank you very much, and have a good one. Bye.